Well, I just thought I'd take a minute and bring you guys up to speed on this. I have had some really nice carving sessions on this particular piece. Um, Trying to lay different stuff in. You might have noticed that I took a drill and I went all the way through here. I went between his headdress and his arm, and I went under the shield, between the shield and the horse. Which, what I'm finding with doing that, you guys, is I'm actually lifting that indent up. If you go back in this video somewhere, you'll notice how fat and squatty the indent looked. Well, all of a sudden, by opening up around him, of course, I did skinny him down a little bit too, but it's lifting him off that horse more, the effect. And I'm starting to really like what I got going. I got a couple of problems. You probably can't see it, but I had to patch. There's a bug hole. See where this niche is out of the feather right there? There is a bug hole, pretty good sized bug hole. Heck, it's bigger than a 1/4 inch hole. And it's going across the headdress behind them feathers, which I may end up having to use some sort of a wood filler in behind there because, like here, a chunk done fell out. So, every piece of wood is going to deal you. I've talked about this before on our videos. Every piece of wood is going to deal you something, even though it's the most beautiful wood. Man, I wish all you carvers could carve some of this particular butternut. This is gorgeous wood. I mean, I've set up half the night out there, 2 or 3 nights now, and that wood just almost got me addicted into it. It's so beautifully carving. Anyway, I'm down to the final stuff here. I have started a few of the feathers. We talked a little bit about the feathers. I totally meant on this video to show you guys a tutorial about braiding and braiding hair and stuff. But then I've decided this particular project, because I told you, I regretted in a way the grain going across it this way because it hits his face just wrong. But yet it's right in other areas. It hits his legs on these horses a little wrong. So it's a give and take thing. I mean, you got some good stuff and some bad stuff. I'll tell you where I'm ready now. You'll see I'm starting to put some detail on the feathers, which I got most of my feathers laid out. I whittled this darn tail down. What I've been doing the whole time, you guys, the horse was stretched out way long. So I've taken this much off from this horse's nose and shoved it back. And I shoved his rear end and stuff in. He's still a long horse. Well, you might have noticed when I framed this face in, I got his face awfully long up and down too. But this is an experiment. So I'm roughing in. I can't do too many tutorials or whatever as far as teaching you guys on this particular piece because of the way the grain is. But I will promise you on the next video we do, I'll try to get into, or one of them, the next few videos, we'll get into a mask or something that way. And we'll do an Indian face, bare face, and we'll do some braids and stuff in another piece of wood. This is just not a suitable situation for that. I did want to bring this. This book's so wore out you can barely see the title and all. But it's an artist anatomy book. And not only, I'll just thumb through right quick, the horse stuff is more towards back, but look, it shows you the anatomy of a jackrabbit, the bone structure, a seal, a cat. Here's the horse section. which is where I'm ready. The reason I'm showing you this anatomy book, you guys, I'm ready to draw my muscle structures in. I have continued to skinny these legs down. And like I said, if you go back in this video, you'll see how fat the legs and stuff were on the horse. I've continually been moving. Remember, I said move, 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 move. Always go to undeveloped areas. My next area actually is up on this hand. I patched where that hole is some, but I haven't got the hand around the spear, and I could straighten the spear out a little bit more. Those are undeveloped, and I'm undeveloped in his underarm and his chest back in here. Those will be my next areas. I'll get my anatomy book out. The reason I'm pushing this anatomy book thing, you guys, is every piece you do, you're trying to better your skills for one thing. And the best way to do that is to get the book out. And even though I've carved 20, 25 horses over the years, I still do not totally comprehend the knee joints and the ankle joints and stuff on a horse. So I have struggled with those areas on almost every horse that I've ever done. I spent a lot of time messing with it. I did show you guys this earlier in the video, but this was actually a horse study, and I was studying the hooves, the ankles, and the knees, and the muscle structure of the horse when I was doing this particular piece. This is all one piece of wood. There's nothing attached onto this. The shield, see where I went through, and it's the same trick that I did on that one. Is I got my end in all skinnied up by going through between areas on the reins and stuff. Yes, you're stretching your skill level by doing that, but then again, it depends on where you're at with your experience with carving. You need to always try to stretch yourself to newer, higher learning, so to speak. So I just wanted to bring you guys up to date. I started getting horse's eye in. I got his nostril started in. I don't like his nose and his nostrils, so I'm pretty sure I'll mess with that a little bit more. There's no sense in trying to show you guys how to carve on this face and stuff just because it is so, the grain's going wrong and it's so small. But just wanted to bring you up to date where I'm at, because the next time I talk to you guys, which will be tomorrow, I'll spend some time yet this afternoon doing my feathers, wrapping the tail of the horse. You might have noticed I've really skinnied that tail down where, you know, they used to wrap the tails and stuff. And so I will wrap that, get my feathers, and these feathers design on the shield. So I'm bringing it along. I got my hair for the horse's mane laid in, but I've not got any little U-gouge directionals in there. So that's pretty much where I'm at. And the next time that you guys see this project, I will probably be sanding on it, and we'll take it out on the deck and put some of that polyurethane on there. And I'll bring you guys to the end of this project. So anyway, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be down the finishing stretches on this by tomorrow, and we'll end it up. Well, we've finally gotten to the end of this project. We went all the way from this particular drawing of it that I made were a little different here and there. I did bridge that, left the feathers bridged on the tail over to this back leg. I had a couple of anatomy mistakes on it, but it is what it is. It was a nice project. I told you when we talked last time there about if I had to do this all again, I definitely would turn the grain the other way. And I knew better than that when I turned the grain this way, but I was trying to be a wood hog in a way. I wanted to get the full scope of the way it was. The wood would only fit about here turned up, and I'd have had to make everything smaller. So we're going to take you out here on the porch, and we're going to put some polyurethane wipe on poly on this thing and call this one done. And we'll try to do the braids, and I'll do the whole end and face on I think we're going to do a mask next time. So anyway, we'll go out on the porch and see what this butternut looks like with a little finish on it. Well, it's beautiful out here today. A little cloudy overcast, but we still got snow up on the peaks of the mountains around. I'm going to use this stuff again. I used it on the Viking warrior on the horse. And what I did learn, you guys, is I think one quick coat and wipe off the excess. Because on the Viking warrior one I did, I let the first coat soak in, and then I went back and went over it again. Then it began to look thick and glossy or whatever. And I cared for it. I liked it better when I just should have left it alone. You know how that goes. You always mess something up when you keep messing with it. So anyway, I'm just going to go with one coat over this. It'll be exciting for me. You guys that's followed the between the Viking warrior and this particular warrior is the fact that I've had these pieces of wood, this particular butternut wood, for 20 years. So for me, it's kind of a cool to be at the end of this finally. And you know, I got this log. If I remember right, this log came from a guy named John Cylindar. He had a sawmill at this particular log came from Cresco, Iowa, which if you get to look in it on the map, it's at the very north up by Decorah, Iowa, and just south of Harmony, Minnesota is where this came from. I used to go up there, and he used to saw basswood logs for me all the time. And the first time I ever laid eyes on this log before he sawed it, it actually was burned on the outside. It was blackened. So I'll tell you where the rest of this log, you guys will see it on this video, is I showed you that warrior with the always about a 5 foot tall warrior with the full headdress all the way to the ground. That actually was this same log. And John sawed the other half of it up for me into these, and then I carved that other half into that big indent that I got going in the studio right now. So I've had these logs for a long, or this wood for a long, long time. And see, I was trying to get a good coat on the very first go round here. and let it soak in. I didn't want to go back over it because something about when it soaks in on this first go around, it keeps a nice low sheen satin to it. The can says warm satin on it. I'll show you right quick here on the can. This little area says warm satin. So I learned if you want to keep it satin, try not to go over it twice. And I probably should be trying to move right along here. Good thing I got my paint shirt on today. But take a look at that finish there, you guys, and that beautiful butternut wood, which I've told you, butternut's my favorite wood. This has actually been a nice carve. I've talked to you a couple times through the project about how I was so addicted carving on this wood that I stayed up 2 or 3 nights, almost all night long. Got to carving, listening to music, having a good time, you know. And next thing you know, I forgot to go to bed till like 4 o'clock in the morning. Which, you know, I used to do that all the time back in the day. I would stay up late and all, but I've really enjoyed doing Woodcarver's Corner for you guys. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. And when this thing dries out here, we're going to give you a finished shot on it. You can pretty much see what's happening with it here. And so you guys, if you know anybody that would like to become a subscriber, we're looking for a few more people to subscribe to us. And we're also wanting to get more people watching Woodcarver's Corner. So, you know, if you know woodcarvers or family or anybody that's interested in this type of stuff, let them know about us to where we can kind of grow. We're trying to grow our channel, and we're young. We just started back in the 1st of December or sometime like that. Of course, I used to. If you guys look at some of them, you'll see I was a young man when I first started Woodcarver's Corner, but that's been when I lived in Oklahoma, and I used to shoot those on VHS videotape, me and David Bomar, when we first started Woodcarver's Corner. And we actually started, I think, in around 1995 or something with it. So here we are all these years later, and we're starting Woodcarver's Corner all over again. And so we need some supporters. But anyway, you guys can see this project has been a really nice project, and I will hang it up here on the fence in a little while to get a closing shot. But I just want to thank you guys for watching Woodcarver's Corner, and I'll talk to you next time on Woodcarver's Corner.